Give me 6 hours to chop down a tree and I will spend the first 4 sharpening the axe. No developer has ever said this was Abraham Lincoln, but honestly developers should adopt this mindset because our axe is our tooling, and the better we know our tooling, the cleaner and the faster we ship the code. But in this video I want to frame the tools and workflows that have proven themselves for me in every project. Plus I will show you how you can use AI to speed up your Angular development workflows. And let us start with the IDE because this is a central part of all your development workflows. Right, so this is VS Code. Of course, it's not what I'm gonna show you because I prefer WebStorm. I prefer the option that works out of the box with all the newest Angular features and doesn't require me to install 25 different plugins to work. And WebStorm provides extensive Angular support, and usually when Angular releases some new feature, the next couple of weeks after, WebStorm has already support for that. And it supports all kinds of refactorings you can do in Angular. For example, if you rename a component, it right away renames all the references of it, and the template files, the CSS files, and the test files. And as long as Angular is not selectorless, you can also refactor selectors, and it will update all the references. As front-end developers, we very often have to access the database in order to check if the data was saved correctly, to test the backend, or also sometimes to fetch and to store the translations for the front-end. And WebStorm provides the whole variety of drivers that you can use to access your database. It supports any database there is. And it also provides great test runner support where you can just run all the tests and see their results right here. And now I want to show you 2 AI assistants which, provided Angular-specific context, can write code for you, and also one developer workflow which can be completely automated with help of AI. You have very probably already used one of the AI assistants like GitHub Copilot and noticed that it very rarely complies with the Angular best practices and also generates outdated code with old inputs without the inject functions. And for this purpose, Angular team has released a dedicated AI instruction which contains the newest Angular best practices references to the documentation so that LLM knows what code you want to generate. And you can download it from the official Angular website, and the link on this will be in the description below, and then you can import it to the IDE. So in order to use it with the GitHub Copilot integrated in your IDE, you can create a GitHub folder and provide the Copilot instructions where you paste the instructions from the Angular team. And it says that you are a dedicated Angular developer who thrives on leveraging the absolute latest features. It provides examples how to use the best practices and style guides, what to avoid, how to create components. And this way, in every your GitHub Copilot prompt, the context is already included. So you can just ask, for example, create a contact form page, run the prompt, and as you have noticed, the response already hints on the Angular guidelines. And it contains the signals, the computed signals, and the new template syntax, of course. So from here, you can copy-paste the code that has been generated. But there is also another AI assistant from JetBrains that also can generate code for you. You just have to press one button, and let us try it out. So for example, let us ask it to generate a contact form page. And as first, it explores the code base and decides how to approach the implementation of it. And then finally it starts generating code for you, so it edits the components, their roots, and done. And all you have to do is just add to Git and read through it and check if everything is correct. And if you have a pre-configured Angular CLI, which says how you want to create components and services, you can also include the MCP, Model Context Protocol, and it will be able to talk to your Angular CLI and generate components how you require it. Now I'd like to talk about Git committing because it's very important as a project documentation and very often underestimated, but it's useful if it has the same format and readable and consistent through the whole history, and you can auto-generate it. In order to generate the commit messages, you have to provide the specific instructions where you say how you want them to look like. And for this, you can use the same GitHub folder and add the git commit instructions file where you describe how the header and the body of your commit message should look like. And it also can extract the ticket number. For example, if you reference the Jira tickets, it can extract it from the branch name. And then after you have made the changes, you simply have to press this button in order to auto-generate your commit message. So you can just double check it and push. Now, speaking about Angular CLI, which is a command line interface where you can run, deploy, and test Angular applications versus the NX monorepo, I would always prefer NX monorepo. Only if you have a very tiny project, you can use Angular CLI to avoid the overhead of setting up NX. Even if you have a single application in a monorepo, you can have 60 feature libraries, and you have to test, you have to build them, you have to lint them. And for these repetitive tasks, there is a caching in NX monorepo which you don't get with Angular CLI, and it saves you a lot of time and costs if you run these tasks locally and also in your pipeline. So here I have a huge project, and if we run all the tests, it of course depends on the machine you're working on, but if you don't have any caching, for example, the tests for this project take on my computer 18 seconds, and if I would run them with the cache, it would only take them 241 milliseconds, which is a huge performance boost. And also it works in the CI/CD, which saves you costs for your CI/CD. And another feature which helps you to maintain clean architecture, clean structure of your project is the NX module boundaries, which you can say which libraries, what modules, what components can depend on what modules and what components. And so this will prohibit importing what shouldn't be imported there. So if you try to import the app component from your design system, which should obviously not be allowed because design system shouldn't have any dependencies at all, it will show you the linting error. And of course you can set up the same inside the Angular infrastructure with the linter, but with NX it works out of the box. And as you know, naming and documentation are two pains of the software development. And of course, if you have CSS, no matter how big or small the project is, you have to think how you name the classes, where you put them. And Tailwind is a perfect solution for this problem, where it's extensively documented. All the classes have the same names, their order is consistent, and you just use it without even leaving your HTML templates. And on their website, everything is very well documented, each class, and you can literally create any style with the Tailwind library. And then your style will look somewhat like this, where you just pass the class names to the class attribute of the HTML element. And once you get used to the class names, it gets so much faster to create styles of your application. It's very well visually documented so that you can see how classes behave. And also there is a specific pre-tier plugin for Tailwind, which sorts all your classes so that they have the consistent order across the whole application. And when you are looking for some style or you want to change the style, you are already used to the order of classes in the class attribute of HTML element. So this is the tool stack that I'm using for my Angular projects to ship them faster and cleaner and with way less stress. And if you find this video helpful, press the like button, subscribe to my channel, and post the comments what tools are you using for your projects.